Thought I'd try something a little different this time. I probably should have made more of an effort for the last video of the year, but to be honest, I'm really rather tired, and besides, who's going to let me into a church? Not just because of the holidays. In fact, I've been tired for a lot of this year. The latter half of 2015 has been physically and mentally exhausting for me for all sorts of reasons, and over the last few months I've been doing what I can to rectify that. I'm happy to say that I'm slowly getting there. By no means has it been a bad year for me personally, it's just been a bit of a transitional one, where I'm doing the best I can to jump through hoops and roll with the punches, as well as whatever other overused metaphors I can think up. That exhaustion has, of course, affected my build projects. Like so many other people, I went into 2015 with big plans, big ideas, and lots of motivation. But with each challenge and obstacle and failure, it would gradually chip away at that motivation and energy. Before you start making any assumptions, no, I'm not going to announce a retirement from cosplay. That's not what this is about. Besides, that's just more than a little tacky. I know how slowly I already work, and I don't churn out costumes like others do. I normally average one major cosplay project per year, with maybe a few little projects on the side, but because of this lethargy, this year may have been the first year since I started that I haven't been able to complete something major and new. Leonardo was of course meant to be the big new thing this year, but that proved more challenging than I had hoped, although not entirely surprising, as I've never made a creature suit before. My first costume, Dr. Zoidberg, was really just a latex mask and claws, so this has been quite a steep learning curve for me. And I do intend on finishing Leo, even if I stuff him up a few more times. It's bound to happen. There was one project I did manage to complete this year, and that was the Lady Sif sword I made for my dear and wonderful friend Just Z cosplay for her birthday. I don't do commissions, but I do enjoy making things for friends, so I was especially proud of that build, not only because of the final result, but because it was a gift for a friend, and I'm just so glad she liked it. It's one of my favourites. Oh, and the stunt woman for Lady Sif, Kai Fano, saw a photo of the sword I made, and commented that it looked pretty close to what they used on set. So, that's bloody cool. Curiously, I seem to have been doing more talking about cosplay than actually making it. You know, with my sermons. It's sort of a way for me to keep my mind in the hobby. I call them sermons because I'm perfectly aware of how sanctimonious I sound a lot of the time, like I'm lecturing everyone. But it's not about lecturing. It's about trying to make people think. I want to challenge your preconceived notions, and I want you to reevaluate what it is you believe about this little hobby of ours. You don't have to agree with me, although, let's be honest, it's easier if you do. My hope is that by creating and continuing these discussions, it prevents us from becoming lazy and complacent. Complacency leads to bad things happening. We react to them. We let them die down, and then we do the dance all over again a month later because we've learned nothing from the last time. I kind of hope to change all that. I don't really have an aptitude for writing, nor do I particularly like the sound of my own voice. So if I speak up about something, then I believe it important enough to discuss and be made aware of. I do my best to qualify my words, even sugarcoat them, and I reserve the brutal honesty for when I'm truly at the end of my rope. But no matter how careful I am, there will always be some who object to my words, and the only suggestion I have for those people is to really think about what it is I am saying. Because beyond that, I can't help you. I've tried to tackle a variety of topics over the last 12 months, but the underlying theme to most of my word spews is one very important question. Why do you cosplay? What motivates you to dress up? What drives you to invest so much time, money, and effort into this hobby? Whether it's about choosing certain characters or being honest about your work, knowing the difference between seeking attention and seeking validation, or identifying that cosplay is a form of expression, therefore cosplay is a form of art. It all boils down to knowing what drives you in this hobby. Of course, everyone's answer will be different, but being able to answer that question for yourself, I feel, goes a long way in keeping you motivated and in making good, positive choices. In any case, thank you to the few dozen people who do read and watch my ramblings. It means a lot that there are folks getting involved with the discussion. I can't change the world, but maybe I can have some small influence on a tiny part of our little community. Also, thank you for enjoying the photos I take at events. I really do appreciate it. Even outside of cosplay, photos have meant a lot to me. These aren't just images we upload into the ether. What we're doing is capturing a moment. That's what I value most about photos, and it's why, despite the bulky armor, I try my best to take as many photos as I can. I don't offer the high-end processed over-the-top photo art and or special photo shoots that many actual photographers specialize in. My stuff is more documentarian, I guess, is the best word for it. It's where I'm preserving memories. I like to think that in that specific moment, you're having fun doing what you enjoy. And that's what it's all about for me, and why I make the effort that I do. At its most pretentious, it's about recording history. This is who we are in this moment in time, and I just think we have to own it and be proud of it. But of course, you're here because of my cosplays. Or because I have really hot friends. I don't know, apparently that happens. As I said before, Leo was meant to be the big one this year, but that's still a big learning process for me, and I do hope to get that done very soon. My Master Chief cosplay, based on the version from Halo 4, did the rounds again this year, and I love wearing that armor. As I mentioned elsewhere, despite how bulky it is, for me it's a little like a second skin. I'm so used to it now. It's definitely a favourite to wear, although I do have to do something about the platform boots. Once I get that sorted, he'll be comfy as. And I really need to get around to finally making that assault rifle that I started over a year ago. The armour itself still needs additional details, improvements with some minor and some structural fixes. But slowly, I'll get there. It happens with all my projects. And my Optimus Prime cosplay did his final lap of the cons this year, ending things off at Supernova, after debuting at the very same convention back in 2013. And yeah, I've got to admit, it was a little bittersweet. As difficult as it is to wear, it's still so much fun to traipse about as Optimus. He draws quite a crowd, and I'm always so flattered by the reactions. And this time, I got to record the final lap using a small action camera I mounted on his shoulder. It was absolutely fascinating to watch back and see all the things I missed because I'm usually so focused on staying balanced and upright. I'll have a link to the highlights of that footage somewhere around here, and I'm also working on a video to talk a little more about the background and history behind that particular build. And while I've been using hyperbole like final lap and last hurrah, I always made sure to remind everyone that it was a semi-retirement because there's always a possibility to bring Optimus back later down the track for special occasions and the like. He's just putting the feet up for the time being. But I must admit, looking over the costume parts, seeing how much needs repairing and improving, it's looking less and less likely he will return, especially considering I want to focus on new projects. Like every year, I have big plans for 2016. More costumes, more props, more sermons, more videos, more bitching and moaning, because that's what I do. And I'll talk more about those in the new year. Hopefully my body doesn't crap out again, because there's stuff I really want to do. Before I finish up, I want to say thank you to everyone for taking an interest in what I do and what I have to say, as well as following along with my shenanigans. Amongst the Aussie cosplayers, I really am just splashing around down the shallow end of the pool. I know I'm not as prolific, or as skilled, or as pretty as many of the other folks, so it means a lot that anyone is paying attention at all and liking my work. This is my creative outlet. I'm expressing myself, having a bit of fun, piss fighting about. The fact that any of it is of any interest to anyone at all amazes me, and I truly appreciate it. And I hope you stick around for what's in store next year. So, here's to the lazy year that was 2015. Hope yours has been a great one. And I look forward to what's in store for all of us in 2016. Thank you so much. Oh, this is where I say the thing. Okay. Here endeth the sermon. Because that's what I say. It's what I feel.